Welcome back to Creative Excuses and to my very first tier list video. Now, I'm not one to usually make a tier list video, but the reason for this is to showcase some of the changes that have been made in my mod, Baldur's Gate 3 Chocolate Edition. This is a big mod that makes a ton of changes, and it is going to change the way the tier list would work from the vanilla game. So we're going to go over where I think these classes would place relative to one another, and it's going to be a good time. So let's jump into it. All right, so the tiers that we have today are S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and good, but why would you play it tier, okay? This is a tier for subclasses that kind of just do what another class already does, that I haven't changed enough for it to really take over it. There's only 2 classes in this tier, I think, and we'll get to those when we get there. So let's start off with the Barbarians. We're gonna go in alphabetical order for the classes, but not the subclasses. So this is the Berserker Barbarian. This is gonna go straight into S tier. Even though I have nerfed Tavern Brawler in Baldur's Gate 3 Chocolate Edition, which you can see the patch notes for in the description, or you can check out this video over here. Even though I've nerfed Tavern Brawler, throwing builds are still insanely powerful, and Berserker Barbarians make amazing throwing builds. They also make really good supports. They can do melee attacks really well, they can throw really accurately, and with their bonus action, they can throw bottles of water to get enemies wet, doubling the damage they take from cold and lightning damage, and knock them prone all at the same time. Berserker Barbarians, I didn't nerf them, they're just good. There's not really a way around it. If they're gonna do what they're gonna do, they're very strong. Next up, we've got Giant Barbarians. I haven't really changed anything for them. I don't think I changed anything at all for them, actually, but they're really good. I think Berserkers offer a little more crowd control, but the throwing Giant Barbarian offers a little bit more damage. They're good, I don't know, but I think they're slightly less good than the Berserker. Wild Heart Barbarian, I'm gonna put into S tier. They do so many things. You can make them absurdly tanky. You can make them really good at crowd control. There are just so many different builds that you can run with a Wild Heart Barbarian that we're just gonna put them up there. They make a great member of any party, and they can offer so much. Wild Magic Barbarian, unfortunately, is gonna go in C tier. I have made some changes to make the Wild Magic a little bit more fun, but I didn't change a ton. They are still a really good class. They offer a little more longevity to your spellcasters. They can offer a minor bonus once per day for conversation checks or whatever. They're good. They're just not amazing. Like, why would you play the Wild Magic Barbarian when you can play any of the other barbarians? You get all the rages. Yeah, they're good, but they're not amazing. So that's the Barbarian placement. But we gotta grab the actual class. I think overall, because of this, especially, the class itself is just S tier. I think Barbarian itself is fantastic. They're just so good. There's so many options. They are a great martial character to bring into any party. They're solid. All right, let's move on to the bards. For the bards, we have, I believe this is the Glamour Bard. Now, the Glamour Bard is a really good class, of course, because it is a bard. It does all of the spellcaster things that a bard does, which is amazing, but it also adds some extra power to their command spell, and they get a bonus kind of command, the Mantle of Majesty. Mantle of Majesty, I think, is a little slept on in the community. It is a support class, but Mantle of Majesty on its own is just like pick a fight you want to win, and then command everything in the fight to lose the fight and you win. Like, you pick a fight and you win. That's it. When you don't do that, it's just a bard doing bard things. And you can use your bardic inspiration to keep your entire party healthy forever. They're kind of like a heroism spell, but all the time, and doesn't require concentration or doesn't require a spell slot. Like, you get a short rest heroism for your party. I don't know. A Glamour Bard is not the S tier bard, but it is so good. Speaking of the S tier bard, we've got the Swords Bard. I did nerf Swords Bard, all right? Swords Bards now can no longer target the same enemy twice with their Slashing Flourish ranged variant, which is how it always should have been, guys. It should have, but they're still kind of S tier. They get excellent damage, they get excellent spell casting, they get extra attack, They are so strong. They're a little bit less strong in the vanilla than in the vanilla game, but they're still so powerful. Valor Bard used to be in a good but why, right? Because Valor Bard basically did what Swords Bard did, but worse. That's not the case anymore. Valor Bard got a buff in this mod and another mod that I made, where their Bardic Inspiration now applies to the ally that they're targeting and to themselves. So they get double value out of every Bardic Inspiration. This does have a weird bug in Conversation where they actually make the best party face in the game, bar none, because they can use their Bardic Inspiration to grant 2d6 or 2d8 or whatever. Like their Bardic Inspiration applies to themselves twice during conversations. That's a little overpowered. I don't really know how to fix that, but you know what? If you want to be a Valor Bard and go tell every enemy in the second act to, you can, okay? Valor Bard is really good in conversations because of that, but they're also really good in combat. They get to inspire their ally, giving them extra damage or extra accuracy, and at the same time, they get those benefits. So they can attack, defend, give saving throws. It's great. They do a lot of things, but they also get a fighting style. Now they get a unique fighting style list. They get the choice of archery, defense, protection, and dueling, I believe, which is really good. The key one there that you heard though is archery. Archery is the best fighting style in the game and they get access to it. So you can now have a Swords Bard archer that deals a lot of damage, or you can have a support archer in the Valor Bard that does close to as much damage, but also supports your team a lot better than the pretty greedy Swords Bard does. They're fantastic. Lore Bard, S tier. I didn't make any changes. They're just great. Cutting Words is so strong. The ability to make enemies fail saving throws is always so strong. And of course, they get magical secrets, just like the other bards. So they're just great. That's it. So there's the bards. If you can't tell, Bard is also gonna go in S tier because they are just so strong. We've got two classes here, two subclasses in S tier, and both other subclasses in A tier. They belong in S tier. Next up, we have the clerics. First of the clerics we're gonna do is the Death Cleric, Death Domain Cleric. They are obviously S tier. Their level 1 ability, I think it's level 1, to double the value of necromancy cantrips is just so insanely powerful. Like that's so good. They get to twin cast necromancy cantrips all day long without spending sorcery points like a sorcerer has to. That's so strong. Later on, they get to make those necromancy cantrips ignore resistances to necromancy damage. That is so good. They also have a good spell list, and their channel divinity lets them use their melee attack. What is it? Inflict harm or whatever it is. What's that spell called? Inflict wounds. They get to use inflict wounds and their channel divinity to deal a dump truck worth of damage in the early game. They are so good at being bursty. They're kind of like a caster paladin in that sense. They're so strong. Death Domain Cleric, very good. S tier. Our first good but why, this is the Knowledge Domain Cleric. Why would you play a Knowledge Domain Cleric when you could play a Bard that gets expertise, or you could play a Wizard that gets more spells? Just why? Any Bard does what Knowledge Cleric does, but better. And any Wizard does what Knowledge Cleric does, but better, minus the expertise. So they're really good, and if you want the expertise and pretty good spell access, like Knowledge Cleric is decent, but I don't know why you would pick them. I couldn't think of a way to buff them in a way that would make any sense, and they are really good at utility. Like they have a place, you can use them as a party face or whatever. They're just like not that exciting to use. It's not that they're not powerful, they're still a cleric, and clerics are insanely good, no matter which one, as we're gonna get to with the next one. So, like, you can still play a Knowledge Cleric, and you will still have a great time. But why would you play it when you could play something else? I don't know. Next up, we've got the Life Domain Cleric, and this is gonna go right into A tier. This is like your generic cleric, right? It heals like a monster. Pairing Life Cleric with pretty much anything multi-classes really well. And the Channel Divinity on it is just so good. You can really pop your entire full team back to full, and you can keep yourself super healthy with just that Channel Divinity and the ability that when you heal someone else, you heal yourself. And then you can also get a hat in Act 1 that does the same thing. So you can heal yourself like 60 or 70 points. It's really hard to have a party die when you're using a Life Cleric and actually healing. They are the only real healer in the game that can keep pace with incoming damage. They're very good, so they're going to go in A tier. Next up, we've got Light Domain Cleric. This has not changed from the vanilla game. Their ability to just impose disadvantage once per turn when they're attacked, overpowered. So good. Very good level 1 dip, of course. And then you also get like a bunch of offensive spells. They make a pretty decent blaster caster. They can run around with Spirit Guardians and Radiating Orb and all of the normal stuff. They're just good. Not much to say there. Nature Cleric, A tier. They have a pretty strong early game. Their levels 1 through 5 especially are really good with access to like Shillelagh and Barkskin, which Barkskin in this mod has been buffed so that it now no longer requires concentration, it lasts until long rest, and it sets your armor class at a level 2 spell slot to 14 plus your constitution modifier. So you can ignore dexterity and ignore armor entirely on something like a nature cleric or a druid or whatever. And that is really strong. It means they can build really high constitution, they can ignore dexterity, so they can build constitution and wisdom, making them single attribute dependent, so they can be really good. Now, their Channel Divinity sucks. It's terrible. But later on, when they get to reduce like thunder, lightning, or fire damage or whatever, the major elemental types, they can be pretty strong as well. But for the most part, their early game is stronger, and after that, I'd probably say you want to like multi-class out into something like even Druid or like either Druid or Monk or Ranger, something like that. But Nature Cleric on its own, the first 5 levels especially, really strong, maybe first 6 or 7. After that is when they start to fall off and their spell access is not quite as good as you'd want. Next up, we've got Tempest Domain. Tempest Domain is S tier. Everyone knows that. It's S tier because it gets access to a Channel Divinity that maximizes your damage with lightning or thunder damage. That is so strong. Everyone knows why that's strong. You can use that and abuse it. It's great. And it only costs a reaction to use that. Here's the thing though, Tempest Domain, and actually all of these clerics, get to be even stronger because of a feat that's in this game. See, I designed a feat called Zealot. And Zealot grants you 1 Channel Divinity charge and gives you the Tempest Cleric ability to maximize damage rolls at the cost of a Channel Divinity charge and a bonus action. It's not a reaction like the Tempest Cleric gets, it's a bonus action. So I'm actually going to go back and move Nature Cleric up because their Channel Divinity sucks, but they can take that feat and take any of the damage that they want to do and maximize it, the same as a Tempest Cleric does, which can make them another blaster caster. Now, they don't have as much blast as a Tempest Domain or Light Domain, but they can still use Channel Divinity and the Zealot feat to extreme effect. For that reason alone, honestly, all of the clerics might need to be S tier, but we're not going to do that. We'll move it back down to A tier because the class itself is A tier. With a feat, you can make this work insanely well, the same way that Tempest Domain works. Next up, Trickery Domain. Now in the vanilla game, Trickery Domain is somewhere in here, right? Because its spell list is like pretty decent, but its Channel Divinity really sucks. Maybe it could make it to A tier, but its spell list isn't quite as strong in the early game as like Nature Cleric. But in this version, Trickery Domain is actually S tier. And that's because I redesigned Invoke Duplicity completely. In the vanilla game, Invoke Duplicity is like a really crappy minor illusion. Like, it doesn't attract people, and it gives advantage on attacks if you have allies within range of the thing that you already placed, and it costs an action. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. It's horrible. So instead, Trickery Domain has been reworked. Invoke Duplicity is now a passive that you can toggle. And when you toggle it, you kind of just click the button once, and it will trigger a DC 16 Deception check. If you pass the Deception check, you can cast any spell as a free action. It'll still cost a spell slot, but you can cast an extra spell that turn. If you fail the DC 16 Deception check, you can still cast a cantrip that turn, which makes Trickery Domain excellent at manipulating the action economy. If you fail, say you want to cast a fear spell, because that's a spell that Trickery Domain gets at level 5. If you fail, if the enemies pass the saving throw, you can invoke Duplicity, and if you get lucky and you pass the check, bang, you can cast another fear and get a second chance at it. It still costs a spell slot, it still costs resources, and trying to invoke Duplicity does cost a Channel Divinity charge. But that one change makes them so good at manipulating the action economy, and when you get 2 invoke Duplicity charges or 2 Channel Divinity charges later on, again, these restore on short rest. You basically have action surge for spells, but you can use it multiple times in a turn. So you can really dump spells and control an entire battlefield with just one Trickery Domain Cleric. It really makes it a good class, and it feels great to play. But wait, there's more. Trickery Domain also gets Shadow Blade. I replaced one of its spells at level 2. I think it's Pass Without Trace. Pass Without Trace is really good, and it's good at cheesing things, like on a duo run with a stealth archer that Morgana Evelyn uses. It's great for that, but it's totally unnecessary, and it's kind of redundant with the giving advantage on stealth checks that Trickery Domain can already do. So I replaced Pass Without Trace with Shadow Blade. So now they can, cast a spell with their main hand, and then they can run up and stab something with a Shadow Blade with their offhand and do a ton of damage. Trickery Domain is no longer crap. It is incredible. Next up, War Domain. Now here's the thing. When I first made this tier list, I was like, War Domain's A tier, right? Like, it gets all of its normal vanilla features, and it gets one extra feature that I gave it, and that is extra attack. War Domain now gets extra attack at level 8. There are reasons for that. You can read about that in the patch notes, but it gets extra attack at level 8. But here's the thing. It's S tier. It gets extra attack, it gets Spirit Guardians, it gets Flame Strike, it gets Hold Monster, and it gets all of the other things that clerics do. It also gets Stone Skin. The spell list for War Cleric, based on the changes that I made to the actual spells, is so strong. See, Stone Skin on its own is now basically like a pocket Armor of Persistence. It gives you resistance on all of your physical damage types, so piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing. And it reduces all damage taken by 2 except for force damage and psychic damage. Stone Skin is ridiculously strong, and War Cleric gets it. It also obviously gets Spirit Guardians. It also gets Hold Monster. No other cleric gets Hold Monster. That's something a bard can do better than a War Cleric, because they get it through magical secrets, I think. But War Cleric gets it. They're kind of cracked. They're kind of amazing. And they get their resource that lets them make, an extra attack on their bonus actions. So they can attack 3 times while Spirit Guardian's up, or they can Hold Monster and then the next turn attack 3 times while they take significantly reduced damage from Stone Skin. They're awesome. Like, War Cleric's incredible. I kind of want to play one. They're awesome. So that is all your clerics, and they're all in S tier and A tier. There's only 2 in A tier, and the rest of them are in S. Really good class. But the first one is Land Druid. And here's the thing. Land Druid is good, right? It's good. But Land Druid doesn't really do anything special. All of the other druids do what Land Druid does, but they do some more. Now, Land Druid, of course, gets more spells, but why would you take Land Druid for spell casting when you could just take Wizard? With Wizard, you can get basically all of the same spells. to a degree. There's a few spells you can't, but like you don't really need those ones. And you can cast more often, or just as much, because you get your version of natural recovery. Like Land Druid is good. It's just, why not just play a wizard? I don't know. You're not gonna go wrong by playing a Land Druid. It's just, why not just play a wizard? All right, Moon Druid. Moon Druid goes in A tier. Why? Because they do all of the Druid spellcasting, and they can shapeshift and become really tanky. That's it. They get free health bars. They get to use extra attack as an animal. They can wild shape as a bonus action, so that helps keep them safe. Like there's a lot of things that a Land Druid, or not a Land Druid, Land Druid down here. There's a lot of things that a Moon Druid can do that just works really well. Their Tavern Brawler feat is nerfed again. They only receive half of their strength modifier as an accuracy bonus, and their damage from Tavern Brawler is not based on their strength anymore at all, but they're still really good. I don't know. They're kind of just the default druid, I think. I think this is the default druid, and they're solid. They are kind of at the focal point of balance. I don't really have any issues with them. I didn't feel the need to change them. Of course, their spells did change. Again, you can check the patch notes to see all the spell changes, and some of those spell changes are going to make them more powerful in some ways, so they're good. They're just good. Next up, Spore Druid. Spore Druid is S tier AF. Spore Druid gets a great spell list, mainly because they get Cloud Kill in the late game, and Cloud Kill is so good, but they also make incredible Shillelagh users, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but Shillelagh is buffed. Shillelagh is goated now. So Shillelagh before was like a bonus action, and you would enchant your weapon for 10 turns, your main hand weapon for 10 turns, so you had to use it at the beginning of a fight, and then you could fight with it for that fight or whatever, and then, you know, that's it. Shillelagh now lasts until long rest. But Shillelagh also works on all simple weapons. You're no longer limited to quarterstaves and clubs and torches. You can use it on any simple weapon. So you want a dagger? Well, you can use it on a dagger, which gives you a 1d8 dagger that rolls with your spell modifier, which depending on how you get it, it is your spell modifier. It's not just wisdom. That's not a thing that I changed. That's just how the vanilla game works. So Magic Initiate Druid, you could get Shillelagh in the vanilla game and on like a wizard, and it would use your intelligence. That's just how the spell works. Now it still works that way, but it works on more weapons. That includes, if you didn't know, simple weapons includes bows and light crossbows. So Spore Druids, which get extra temporary hit points and extra damage on their melee and ranged attacks while those temporary hit points are active, can do a lot of work with Shillelagh while still maintaining excellent spell casting. Combine that with the fact that you can multi-class for extra attack, or you can take a feat to get an extra attack with your offhand weapon, or just get it from a fighting style, or even a pair of gloves. Spore Druid is so strong. Then you take all of that, the early game pressure of the extra 1d6 necrotic damage on every attack you make, and add in Cloud Kill plus Hero Feast spam in the end game. Man, Spore Druid is good. Spore Druid is good in the vanilla game, and it is amazing in Chocolate Edition. The last druid we have is, of course, the Stars Druid. The Stars Druid, I'm going to put in A tier. I've played with it a little bit, and it is really good. It has amazing bonus actions, and it's got really solid spell casting. You can use Guiding Bolt all day long, which is really cool. Guiding Bolt's like one of my favorite spells in the game, so I do really enjoy that. And it's good. It doesn't do anything insane. The biggest thing that it does really is it has a little bit extra damage on its bonus action, and it gets really, really good constitution saving throws. Specifically concentration saves. Like you're just almost never gonna drop concentration on a Stars Druid, which is really good. A tier, it's not game breaking or game changing or like dealing dumpster fire levels of damage, but it is very solid. So it's going to get an A tier. So where does Druid belong on this? Well, as a class, it does really well. It's got a lot of versatility. All 4 versions of Druid can wild shape. And so you can automatically, if you take it all the way, get up to 3 attacks in a turn with some really strong wild shape forms. Or you can take Spores Druid and stay in your normal form, your fungal form, and you can just bonk stuff all day long with really good spell casting to go with it and be really tanky. It's really awesome. And then you can also summon a whole bunch of stuff which can make your entire party way tankier. Spores Druid, insane. So I'm gonna take Druid and I'm gonna put it in S tier. Again, I wonder if you're seeing a pattern yet with the classes. There is a good reason to take all 4 of these classes in any party so far. Let's keep going. Next up, we've got Battlemaster Fighter, because we're starting the fighters. Battlemaster is A tier. They haven't changed. I've not done anything to them. They're just good. You want a menacing attack? You can menacing attack. You deal extra damage. You want to disarm something? Disarm something. I don't know. You want to make sure you hit that attack? Use a precision attack. You want to attack with your reaction? Riposte. You want to deal extra damage with your reaction? Riposte. They're awesome. Battlemasters are great. They are kind of the focal point of fighters, I think, and one of the focal point classes for the entire game. They're excellent. Love them. Next up, we have one of my children, the Champion Fighter. In the vanilla game, you'd be like, good, but why, right? Because they get like a critical chance buff and an extra fighting style. And that's kind of all they do. Other than that, they're like, if you could take the fighter class and boil it down to just the fighter class with no subclass options, like that's what the champion was. Not so anymore. We're gonna put them in A tier. Champion Fighter has been reworked in this mod, and they are amazing. They get to add half of their proficiency bonus to their attack rolls, or they can add their proficiency bonus to their damage rolls with melee weapons. Later on, that's at level 3. Later on, they can add half of their proficiency bonus to their attack rolls and ignore piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning resistance with any melee weapon attack or ranged weapon attack, or they can add their proficiency bonus to their damage with their attack rolls, and they get to subtract 2 from the number that they need to roll a critical hit. So you can roll a critical on an 18 with a champion, plus deal extra damage, or you can be more accurate and ignore resistances. They're really good. And then at the end of the game, at level 11, you can action surge and get the effects of both, where you're ignoring resistances, you're more accurate, you deal more base damage, and you roll a crit on an 18 or higher. Champion Fighter, very fun, very simple. They don't have any resources to worry about. They just have 2 passives, toggle one on to use that one, toggle the other one on to use that one. And later on, you just use action surge to get both of them, and your 6 attacks in that round are going to absolutely cream everything. Champion Fighter is fantastic. A tier. I still think they're kind of the default fighter. Like, this is just like the most basic version of a fighter, but they're awesome. Battlemaster offers a little more utility and more burst damage until the end game, where Champion takes over a little bit. Next up, we have the Eldritch Knight. And of course, Booming Blade, man. Eldritch Knight gets Booming Blade. That means at the end game, at level 7, not even the end game, at level 7 plus, they get 3 attacks per round. And once they get their 3rd attack from extra attack at level 11, they get 4 attacks per round every round, and all of those can be Great Weapon Master attacks. And then they can just spend all of their spell slots on shield, right? Like, Eldritch Knight is cracked. And that's not even going into the fact that they can make excellent throwing builds, or they can do their whole archery thing. I don't actually know what the archery thing build is. I just know everyone was like, this is so good. And I watched a video on it and I forgot it. Anyway, Eldritch Knight, Booming Blade, enough said. Booming Blade is even nerfed. Like, I brought it down in power. I made it 2d6 instead of 2d8 on the initial hit, you know, at level 10 plus. And it's still amazing. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Eldritch Knight. I don't know where else. Like, S tier's the only place for it. Tanky, deals a crap load of damage, gets 4 attacks. Everything can be Great Weapon Master. Just use it. The next fighter and the last fighter that we have is the Arcane Archer. Look at that. S tier. The Arcane Archer does everything you could ever want a fighter to do. You want it to deal some damage? it deals a lot of damage. It's a freaking archer, man. Though archers do deal less damage in Baldur's Gate 3 Chocolate Edition. So maybe it's like an A+ tier. Maybe it's somewhere in here because Sharpshooter doesn't deal damage the way it does in the vanilla game, which actually, come to think of it though, that kind of brings Swordsbard down a little bit too. Because Sharpshooter doesn't add damage anymore. Instead, it gives you an extra attack at the cost of movement speed. So maybe this is a little bit less. I don't know. I'm not sure. But the Arcane Archer, it does deal a lot of damage. It has a ton of resources to deal that damage. It can deal very consistent, guaranteed damage with its like magic missile, and it can also deal really good crowd control. It kind of does everything that the Battlemaster does, and a lot of what the Eldritch Knight does. Like Arcane Archer is just really, really strong. I would kind of think of it like a ranged monk, where it deals a lot of damage and it deals a lot of crowd control. It's super strong, super strong. So where does Fighter go overall on the list? It is, of course, gonna go in S tier. I hope you're seeing the pattern by now. All right, let's move on to Monk. Monk, we've got Open Hand. I didn't nerf Tavern Brawler so much that Open Hand Monk is not just cracked. It still is gonna deal a ton of damage because it gets to add its Wisdom modifier multiple times through items and through its passives onto unarmed strikes, right? It's got Flurry of Blows, which is great crowd control. And even though I did nerf the Monk base class by making Stunning Strike cost 2 key points, it doesn't matter because Open Hand does not need to stun things. One, it can knock them prone, which is effectively a stun anyway, and that only costs 1 key point. And 2, you're just gonna kill the thing. Like, why stun it as an Open Hand Monk when you can just kill it? So Open Hand Monk, still S tier. Next up, 4 Elements Monk. Where's this one gonna go? Well, this is another one of my children, and I'm gonna put it in S tier, actually. I think 4 Elements Monk is so good now. So if you've seen the video, it's linked over here, or you've seen the mod, it's in the description. I made a mod called the Avatar, like Master of all 4 Elements or something, and I reworked 4 Elements Monk. Basically, I increased the scaling on a lot of spells, I added a bunch of level 6 spells, and I gave them a new passive called, or a new passive check, we'll call it, called Nature's Plenty. And what Nature's Plenty does is every time you make a melee attack with a weapon, specifically with a weapon, you roll a Nature's Plenty nature check. And if you pass the nature check, you get a key point back. And if you get a key point back, you get to spend more spells, right? So you have much better sustain throughout the day. But the real kicker is I removed Flurry of Blows and I made the cantrip-like spells, so like Fangs of the Fire Snake, Chill of the North, the Ray of Frost variant, and the Shocking Grasp variant, Touch of the Storm. I made those 3 bonus actions, so you don't Flurry of Blows anymore, you use one of those, and then with your action, you can cast a spell or you can attack. It's very fun to play, and did I mention that I made it a blaster caster? The scaling on its spells is so much better, especially if you take it all the way to the end, where their Flames of the Phoenix is no longer 4 key points for a fireball, which is like, whatever, you're at the end of the game, you're level 11, what do you need a fireball for? Flames of the Phoenix got buffed. Flames of the Phoenix is now a level 6 fireball, but it costs 6 key points, an action, and a bonus action to cast. So it's really action economy intensive, and it's a little resource intensive, but it's a level 6 fireball, man. Then I also gave it other spells. So like it has a Destructive Wave variant that has the same casting conditions. It's got, I think it has a Sunbeam variant with similar casting conditions that deals a bunch of damage and blinds people. Basically, I gave it a whole bunch of new tools and new fun things, and I increased the scaling throughout the range so that it really feels good to like drop a Shatter on a group, or like to use Shatter all day long, or to use Burning Hands, which now is like 5d4 damage or something like that. It's a really, really strong blaster caster. You're not going to be using this for just like Fangs of the Fire Snake and then attacking with your fists like you do in the vanilla game. It's not like that. You're going to use Fangs of the Fire Snake and then attack with your weapon to regenerate key points, hopefully, so that you can go blast stuff with Shatter or Thunder Wave or whatever else tools that you picked out. It's really strong. It's really fun. I'm going to put it in S tier. It does do a lot of area of effect damage, not so much single target damage. So it's a different kind of S tier than a lot of stuff on here, but some parties really want area of effect damage, and the 4 Elements Monk fulfills that role beautifully. Next up, we have Shadow Monk. Shadow Monk is an A tier monk. It is a really good monk. It does the stunning strikes. It gets extra mobility. It gets Flurry of Blows. And it gets Shadow Blade now, which is a new feature for it. It gets like a level 2 cast of Shadow Blade effectively using key points. So you can turn your short rest resource into a long rest resource, which is a really good weapon that deals a bunch of psychic damage. So it's cool. It's not game breaking. It's just Shadow Monk. I don't know. Have fun with it. It's a good time. Next up, we've got the Drunken Master. I've not played with this subclass yet, but I also haven't heard anything that's like, oh my gosh, the Drunken Master is so good. And I don't know really why you would pick Drunken Master over Shadow, Open Hand, or 4 Elements. Except for maybe vibes. So honestly, it could go here. But it's still a monk with Flurry of Blows, man. So it can't go here. Like, it's still a really good martial, and it's going to deal a crap load of damage. So, where does Monk go? Oh my gosh, Monk is going in the S tier. Who could have predicted it? It's just, you got 2 S tier classes here. You've got your single target nuke, and you've got your big Flames of the Phoenix nuke. They're so good. And then you've got your fun, stealthy Shadow Monk running around, which could use the Resonance Stone and become its own single target nuke. So who knows? Next up, we've got the Paladin. Where is the Paladin gonna go? I'm gonna spoil things, man. The Paladin is still a Paladin. All 5 subclasses are going in S tier. All of them. Oath of the Ancients, you've got excellent crowd control for your Channel Oath. Oath of Devotion, you get excellent accuracy thanks to your Channel Oath. The Crown, they also get excellent accuracy because of their Channel Oath. Vengeance, they're still a Paladin, and they make the best Archer Paladins because of their Channel Oath ability that adds charisma to weapon attacks. So that's kind of a niche that they fit into, but that makes them really good archers. And then Oathbreaker, like, they're still a Paladin, they just get to deal extra damage with their charisma modifier. Like, that's so strong. But why would I put them all here just automatically? Well, they are Paladins, and I have reworked them. And the rework is pretty intense. Here's what I did. I removed Divine Smite from all 5 Paladins, and I replaced it with a new passive. And the new passive is called Channel Oath Smite. So I replaced Divine Smite with Channel Oath Smites, and the Smites now cost a Channel Oath charge, and Channel Oath charges now regenerate on long rest instead of short rest. I also gave Paladins up to 8 Channel Oath charges if you take it all the way to level 12. You get 2 at level 1, and then you get 1 additional Channel Oath charge per level up to level 12. So that's how that works. There are so many effects that this causes though. 1, their Channel Oath abilities have all received reworks so that they're either competitive with smiting, or they just don't have to compete with smiting and they just have a short rest cooldown. So that makes some of the abilities much better. Oath of Devotion, for example, their Sacred Weapon ability is no longer an action for 10 turns, an action that buffs your weapon for 10 turns. It is now an action that costs 2 Channel Oath charges, but buffs your weapon all day. So now you can add your Charisma modifier to weapon attack rolls with whichever weapon you use all day. So they get to be insanely accurate and they can really pummel things down. Oath of the Crown, on the other hand, their ability, which lets you add proficiency bonus to your attack rolls, has been changed. Righteous Clarity now requires concentration, which I think people are going to hate, but it doesn't cost a channel oath charge. So you can use it every single combat without having to work. Well, you can use it almost every single combat without having to worry about it as long as you're short resting between combats. You just have to maintain concentration on it. So you can kind of choose that as your concentration, or you can choose like Spirit Guardians or something else. People might hate that, but adding your proficiency bonus to attack rolls is really strong. So, but the effects of changing smites to cost channel oaths and giving more channel oaths are many. Another change that this causes is you can super smite so many times per day. Now your smites that cost spell slots are not competing with your divine smite. So if you have at the end of the game, what is it? 8 spell slots, I think. You have 4 level 1s, 3 level 2s, and 2 level 3s. 9 spell slots. If you have 9 spell slots and 8 channel oaths, you can super smite 8 times per day. And you can actually get more channel oaths through armor sets. So you can super smite more. That increases your burst damage. And some of the spell smites also got buffed. Like Thunderous Smite, in order to make it better than Booming Blade, and Wrathful Smite, in order to make it better than Booming Blade, have both had their dice increased. So Wrathful Smite deals 2d6 at level 1 to 4, and then at 5 it deals 2d8, and then at level 10 it deals 2d10. So it's not a huge damage buff, but it is a buff. And Wrathful Smite got a really big buff and deals the same amount. So now Wrathful Smite and Thunderous Smite are both the same amount of damage. It's not 1d6 on Wrathful and whatever. So that's all good. It also means Paladins are no longer worried about spell casting eating away at their smites. You can cast spells and it won't take away your smite damage. For Oath of the Crown, that means you can cast Spirit Guardians, and that's not sacrificing a 4d8 smite, right? You can cast it and then smite. It's awesome. So Paladins, all of them are S tier. The tooltips that I've seen on the damage is still just as high or almost as high as it is in the vanilla game. It's crazy. But also because it's a passive now, you can actually see the damage on a super smite. So you can see that it's up to like 85 damage or whatever. It's kind of insane. It's really good. It's really fun. All of the Paladins are S tier. Like, pick any of them and you're gonna have a good time. Oath of Devotion, of course, hard to maintain that oath. Other than that though, all of them so good. But again, special shout out, Vengeance Paladin. Their add charisma to their damage, costs a channel oath charge. It lasts for 5 turns now. And again, it works on archery, so it's really good. It's kind of an alternative to smiting for archery builds in particular, which, as I mentioned earlier, Sharpshooter gives you an extra attack. So using that, you get a lot of value very quickly. Paladins, overall, if all 5 subclasses are in S tier, Paladins are S tier. They're so good. Wait. Back to Paladin for a second. One of the other things about smites being based on your channel oath charges instead of spell slots is that the best way to be a paladin now is to be a damn paladin, not to be a sorcerer or even more accurately, a swords bard. You don't get more smites by going bard or sorcerer or warlock. You get more smites by going more paladin. So if you want to smite a lot, you build paladin all 12 levels. If you want to do more spell casting or you want to add in some other effects, you add in some of the other classes. All right, let's move on. Ranger is next. First up, we've got the Beastmaster. I'm gonna put Beastmaster in A tier. It's just good, right? You get an extra little friend that can take hits for you, that can do some extra effects. You get the save-free disarm from the bear with honeyed paws. You get quite a lot. Beastmaster is A tier. They just kind of do cool ranger things without being crazy. They're very fun to play, but they don't break the game wide open at all. There are really strong setups that you can do, but you really have to take Ranger or Beastmaster Ranger all the way, so there's not great multi-class potential. I don't know. I think they're A tier. I don't think they're game breaking, but I do think they're very good. Next, we got Gloomstalker. Gloomstalker, I put it in A tier here, right? But honestly, it could go up to S tier. I'm gonna put it in S tier. And there's only one reason to put it in S tier, and that's not Dread Ambusher, it's Dread Ambusher. And by that, I mean it's the initiative bonus. See, in Baldur's Gate 3 Chocolate Edition, initiative is now a 1d8 plus your dexterity, and your intelligence modifier. And alert, the feat, has been nerfed from +5 initiative to +1. So initiative is a little bit harder to come by in Chocolate Edition. So the +3 on Dread Ambusher is actually really, really strong. Other than that, they get all the buffs, all the same buffs that the other Rangers are getting, which we'll talk about in just a second. But that initiative bonus is really strong. It's also really strong for any of the marshals that want to multi-class. You'll get that extra attack on the first round, and you'll get a bunch of extra initiative. That is just really good. It's really good. But the real S tier Ranger is the Hunter. That's kind of unexpected, right? I feel like Hunter Ranger is usually around A tier, maybe B tier. But no, Hunter Ranger's S tier. And that is because it is an absolute monster of a blaster caster for a marshal. Why? What in the world do I mean by that? Well, Rangers got some spell buffs. There are a couple spells in the game that just like were not that good, and they were all on the Rangers kit. For example, Ensnaring Strike was good, but it wasn't that good. It required concentration, the enemy had to fail the saving throw, and they get to make a saving throw like every turn, I think, right? Ensnaring Strike was good, but not great. Well, now it lasts 3 turns, it doesn't require concentration, so it's really strong. You can kind of pepper the entire field with Ensnaring Strikes. Another example would be like Hail of Thorns. In the vanilla game, Hail of Thorns counts as a spell, not as a weapon attack. So it doesn't trigger extra attack, but it deals your weapon damage plus like a 1d10 on it, and you can miss it, but the explosion would still deal half damage. But it just like wasn't that good, and it took your whole action. Why would you cast Hail of Thorns as a Hunter Ranger or as any Ranger when you could just attack twice, right? Well, I fixed that. Hail of Thorns now counts as a weapon attack, so it triggers extra attack. You can now cast 2 of them in 1 turn. I also removed the bonus action cost, I believe. I think it has a bonus action cost in the vanilla game. It's been so long, I don't know. So now it hits really hard. You can get a nice small area of effect where you get weapon damage on one character and a bunch of explosion damage on the others. So that's really good. It also, even if you miss, still deals half damage, which is really cool. It can also critically hit, which can make it deal a lot of damage. And it scales pretty well, scaling an extra 1d10 per level. So once you have level 3 spells, you can deal 30 damage and explosion plus your weapon, and you can deal that twice. But why would you cast Hail of Thorns twice when you can cast, say, Conjure Barrage twice, which has the same treatment? It is now a weapon attack, doesn't cost a bonus action to use, and triggers extra attack. So you can absolutely blast the entire field as any ranger with weapon damage plus 3d8. That's what Conjure Barrage does now. It's excellent. It's so good. It's so fun. I love it. But wait, there's still more. What if Lightning Arrow got the same treatment? Yes, that's right. Lightning Arrow now counts as a weapon attack and triggers extra attack, and you can use 2 lightning arrows in a row. That means you can double the damage and absolutely obliterate stuff if you take Ranger far enough. So but that's for all of the Rangers, right? Beastmaster, Hunter, Gloomstalker, and Swarmkeeper all get those changes. Why is Hunter Ranger at the top? Well, Hunter Ranger gets all of that plus volley. So they can build an archer that deals a bunch of damage by dumping spell slots, kind of like ranged smites, and then when they're out of spell slots, they can still do a crap load of area of effect damage with their volley or whirlwind attacks. Hunter Ranger is an absolute menace. Love them. They're S tier. They just do a ton of area of effect damage. Very good to have in pretty much any party. Next up, we've got the Swarmkeeper. I have not played with the Swarmkeeper at all yet. I didn't really change anything other than those spells, which buff Ranger as a whole. I think they could kind of be B tier to me. They rely really heavily on Hunter's Mark, but they do get like extra damage and they have a few utility effects. I don't know. I'm gonna put them in A tier. I think Ranger on its own is like pretty solid. But I personally would rather probably play this, although they do look really cool. Like for vibes alone, we're gonna say Swarmkeeper is A tier. So where am I gonna put Ranger? Well, you might expect that I put it in S tier, but I kind of think A tier. Well, originally I put Ranger into A tier, but that was before I realized that Gloomstalker comes with extra initiative, or not before I realized, but before I remembered that Gloomstalker's extra initiative can be really strong in Chocolate Edition. I'm gonna put it in S tier. Originally, I'll spoil this, Ranger was gonna be the only A tier, and that's because they're like good, but they're nothing crazy, because I nerfed Sharpshooter so much. Sort of, Sharpshooter's not nerfed, it's just kind of different. Like very different, but I nerfed it. It deals less damage from Sharpshooter. So I thought Ranger was gonna be farther down the list, but no, I think I'm gonna put it in S tier. We've got 2 S tier classes, one of them that's probably one of the best, if not the best area of effect damage dealer in the game, and one that gives +3 to initiative. Those are both really, really strong effects, and an extra attack, really strong effects. We're gonna put Ranger in S tier. Next up is Rogue. What is that class? That's a wizard. What is wizard doing down here? Let me put this over here. Next up is Rogue. First up, we've got the Arcane Trickster. Normally, Arcane Trickster is like a B tier or a C tier or like a why would you play it tier for most people. I'm gonna put it in A. I think Arcane Trickster is slept on in the vanilla game and slept on in tier lists. It's really good. It is the single best scroll user in the game, in my opinion, in the vanilla game. The vanilla game, it gets 4 feats. It can max out dexterity and intelligence. It can abuse greater invisibility really well on its own. It can steal all of the scrolls that it could ever want. It's just really good in the vanilla game. In this version of the game, it also received a buff. So it does all of that stuff that I just named. And at level 6, you get a new passive called Arcane Flick, I believe it is. And the Arcane Flick lets you cast an extra cantrip with your sneak attack charge, but only if you pass a DC 17 Arcana check. Yeah, so the Arcane Trickster at level 6 gets the ability to, if you cast a cantrip in combat, or out of combat, I guess, but mostly in combat is where it matters. If you cast a cantrip in combat, you will roll a DC 17 Arcana check, which is an intelligence check. And if you pass it, you get to cast another cantrip as a free action on that turn. It's kind of like extra attack for Arcane Tricksters. Which, yes, before you ask, it does work with Booming Blade. But when you cast that second cantrip, it costs your sneak attack charge. So you now have some extra options. You can sneak up on a target and Booming Blade and get the sneak attack damage and the Booming Blade damage. And that's your action, and then your bonus action you can do whatever you want with, right? But you're not going to get another sneak attack. You're not going to get another cantrip unless it's a bonus action cantrip, etc. Or say you can throw a firebolt and then you pass the Arcana check and now you can sneak up and Booming Blade. So you now get a cantrip and a weapon attack, and then you can still bonus action cantrip if you want. Or you can sneak up and you can Booming Blade and you don't use your sneak attack, and then you can Booming Blade again. Awesome. If your weapon attacks deal more than your sneak attack die damage would deal, that can be really good. Once you're level 10, you can cast a firebolt or whatever cantrip you have access to that deals a bunch of damage, and then you can cast another one. So you can do, what is that, 6d10? No, firebolts aren't d10s in this, they're d8s plus proficiency bonus. So you can deal 6d8, so a fireball in damage plus your proficiency bonus times 2. And then whatever your bonus action is. And if you have hasted actions, you can use a third cantrip or whatever. Basically, you get to manipulate the action economy and do a bunch of fun stuff with your cantrips. Yeah, I think Arcane Tricksters were already really good, and this is an alternative to an Arcane Sneak Attack. I think it's super fun, and it's going to add a lot of fun to playing my Arcane Trickster run. I'm excited for it. Next up, we have Thief. Normally, Thief would be an S tier. Right, and Thief would be an S tier, not because it's good, but because it's amazing at multi-classing, because it gets that bonus action at level 3. Well, no. Nope. Somehow, Thief is getting buffed and nerfed at the same time. See, Thief has been changed. Thief now gets a bonus action, its extra bonus action, at level 6 instead of level 3. And before you get mad, because all of your builds that love extra bonus actions are no longer available because you can't, like a 6th level dip isn't a dip at all, there's a feat that gives the extra bonus action. It has a penalty attached to it, but you can use a feat to get the extra bonus action, so it's a lot of fun that way. Okay, so your builds are safe, they just have a penalty. The penalty is less than taking 3 levels of something else, but kind of more than taking 3 levels of something else at the same time. It's a -3 to saving throws. Anyway, Thief, extra bonus action, level 6. So what did I replace that feature with at level 3? Well, level 3, they now get to sneak once per turn as a free action. They can now dash or disengage for their bonus action and still sneak. So they kind of still get 2 bonus actions the way it was kind of intended to be used. That's pretty good. But they also got another feature, and that is a Thief unique ability called Trick Knife. Trick Knife costs a sneak attack charge and an action to throw, and it is a unique ability, a class action, that throws some knives. At level 3, it will throw 2 knives, and the knives deal half of your sneak attack damage modifier, plus 2 times your dexterity modifier. What that means is you get to apply your sneak attack damage to 2 targets instead of just 1. For your action, it's also ranged, which is pretty cool. And it does not require advantage on the targets. It doesn't have the same rules that sneak attacks do. So you get to split your sneak attack damage over more people, which can be good. It also lets you deal a little bit extra damage using your dexterity modifier, which is awesome. Very cool. But that doesn't sound very powerful, right? Because like, why would you want to split your sneak attack damage when you could just do all of your sneak attack damage to 1 target with a sneak attack, right? Well, sometimes you don't need to dump all of that damage into 1 target, and you need to hit 2 targets. But also, at cantrip levels, so at levels 5 and 10, if you take rogue levels, that is, so at rogue level 5 and rogue level 10, Trick Knife gains a target. So at level 5, you will be able to throw 3 knives, and now you're getting 1.5 times value out of your sneak attack dice. At level 10, you're gonna get double value out of it. And what is that? You're gonna apply your dexterity modifier 8 times in 1 turn with 1 action. Trick Knife is a very strong ability. It's very fun to use, and I think it's great. But it is different than where it used to be. It's not S tier anymore because it's not an S tier multiclasser. If you take Thief, you kind of want to take Thief pretty far, at least to level 6 or 7, because you want that sneak attack damage. But if you take it all the way, you're going to get a lot of value out of taking Thief. Also at level 9, I think it is, you're going to get to jump as a free action once per turn. So overall, Thief, by the time you're level 12, gets to sneak as a free action once per turn, gets to apply their sneak attack damage effectively twice in 1 turn, gets 2 bonus actions, and can jump as a free action. They become insanely mobile. They get a lot of bonus action utility if you can find uses for your bonus action, and they're going to deal very solid area of effect damage or single target damage by using their sneak attack normally. Thief, very good. Go steal stuff. It's great. Oh, I forgot. At level 3, they also get advantage on sleight of hand checks. For free. They just get advantage. They're a thief. You're a thief. What do you mean you don't have advantage on sleight of hand checks? You're never going to fail those. You might still fail them. Play a halfling. Let's go on to the last one. My voice is getting tired. Next up, we've got Swashbuckler. Swashbuckling Rogue is an S tier. I think it's kind of an easy S tier. They are a game changer. They get to apply their sneak attack damage really easily, and they effectively have extra attack through their bonus action. It does take their charisma to hit it, but if they hit it, they get to disarm things. That's really good. Or they can like viciously mock people. Vibes alone, Swashbuckling Rogue, S tier. They also deal decent damage. They're good martial character. They're good. They provide utility. They provide damage. We love them. But I also buffed them. I didn't buff them much, but I did buff them. At level 6, they unlock a new feature called Swashbuckling, I think. I should have been more creative with that, but it's swashbuckling, and it's a swashbuckling check. When you make a melee attack, once per turn, they roll a swashbuckling check, which is a DC 24 acrobatics check. And if they pass that acrobatics check, they get to attack again. Once per turn. Very fun, just gives them an extra attack occasionally. And if you really wanted to sweat it up, I bet you could build plus 14 and take it all the way to reliable talent and get an extra attack every single turn. That makes them kind of like a fighter, but not a fighter. You have to really build for that. It's kind of fun. I love it. It's just a little bit of thematic flavor. They're already very good. Like very, very good. Last up, we have Assassin. Now, Assassin, I'm also going to put in S tier. And this might seem insane, but I buffed Assassins, and Assassins were already very good. Okay, because Assassins also multi-classed really well. And this multi-class right here, Gloomstalker plus Assassin, might be even better now. We will see. So Assassins, they still get all their vanilla features. They get to reset their action and bonus action if they start combat with an attack or whatever. They get to deal critical hits against enemies that are surprised. And they get advantage on targets that haven't taken a turn yet, I think is like what their main features are at level 3. Well, I gave them a new feature. At level 6, they get extra attack. That's it. Extra attack. The reason I did that is because their features kind of suck if you can't get a source of extra attack. Like, what good is it to be able to critically hit a bunch of enemies before, like, while they're surprised if you can only hit one of them? Right? Because you only have the one action, so you can, woohoo, I critical hit with my action, and then I critical hit with my bonus action, but I don't have a fighting style, so that, you know, only dealt like 1d6 damage plus riders, and that, it's just not that good. So extra attack lets them deal a little bit extra damage with their main hand action, and lets them critically hit a little bit more often. Very fun, super simple, but I think that makes them S tier because it means they are going to have some really strong Nova rounds. And when you combine it with like the Dread Ambusher stuff, you can take 6 of this, 3 of this, and then you still have 3 levels for like Paladin, like a Vengeance Paladin, right? It just gives you more options. You get a bunch of sneak attack dice. You can go 7 levels of Assassin, get extra attack, and then instead of having to take 5 levels of Gloomstalker, you can take 3 and then 2 of Paladin for 3 smites per day. Right? You can get a lot of extra damage that way. Or you can take 3 levels of open hand or 2 levels of open hand monk for some extra flurry of blows. Or you can take this one, Spore Druid, so that you get extra damage dice. There's a lot of options. Having extra attack on it opens up a lot of multi-class opportunity and a lot of early burst damage. I think that makes it an excellent, excellent rogue. And it incentivizes you. You could even take it all the way to level 12. Will you? I don't know. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. You could. You'll get really big sneak attack damage. I don't know. So where's Rogue going? You guessed it. S tier. Swashbuckling and Assassin are really good. Thief, honestly, Thief could probably be up there too, but Thief, really good. Lots of mobility. Very fun character to play. And Arcane Trickster was already so good. I cannot stress that enough. Was already so good. It just brought a lot of things to the table all at once in one dense character. And now it just gets to do extra stuff with cantrips, which is really fun. I think that's a lot of fun. All right, we have 3 classes left. I gotta blitz through these. It's an hour and 15 minutes of recording so far. Okay, we got Draconic Blood Sorcerer. Draconic Blood Sorcerer is in A tier. This makes sense, right? It gets some extra armor class while you're wearing no armor, and it gets some extra damage, and that's about it. But it's A tier because it's a freaking sorcerer. No matter how bored, like it could be an S tier because it's a sorcerer. But we're just gonna leave it in A tier. It's fine. It's good. It's really good. I didn't change anything about sorcerers. Their spells, a lot of spells got improved, so they're just gonna be improved. They're good. I don't know. This is my favorite sorcerer personally, but it's really good. Shadow Sorcerer, S tier. It's a sorcerer, awesome. But it's also a beastmaster, so it's extra awesome. I don't know what more you want from me. They get dark vision, sort of. They get a certain version of dark vision, which there are lots more sources of that kind of dark vision in Chocolate Edition, so maybe it shouldn't be an S tier. But like, you get the pet that helps you generate more sorcery points, and more sorcery points means you get to do more sorcerer things. And sorcerer things are incredible things to do. They manipulate the action economy as well or better than most other classes. Maybe the only class that does that manipulates the action economy better than them now is, ironically, Trickery Domain Cleric. So they're really good. Shadow Sorcerer, excellent choice. I don't think you can go wrong with it. Wild Magic Sorcerer. Yeah, that makes sense. You can kill your team. Other than that, awesome. They're fantastic. Storm Sorcerer. That's kind of unexpected, right? Why would you put these two in B tier, even though they're sorcerers and you think sorcerers are, as we'll see, S tier? I put this here because it's kind of this. Why would you play this? I don't know why you would play Storm Sorcerer when you could play the other ones. Let me make sure that that's correct. I'm like pretty sure there's no reason to play a Storm Sorcerer over the other ones. So Storm Sorcerer gets Tempestuous Magic, which is fly as a bonus action. That's kind of cool, but there's a feat in Chocolate Edition that just will let you fly. So this one, when you cast a level 1 or higher spell that deals lightning or thunder damage, you cause a small local storm. All enemies take Sorcerer over 2, so like 6 lightning damage or 6 thunder damage. That's not that crazy. I guess they get Create or Destroy Water, which can be used really well, and they get Call Lightning, which is fun. Storm's Fury. When struck by a melee attack, you deal lightning damage to the attacker and possibly push them back. Yeah, I don't know why you'd play a Storm Sorcerer. I'm actually going to move him down. I think Storm Sorcerer is good, but why? And that's because there's a feat that lets you fly. That's it. Why would you play a Storm Sorcerer when you can play a Draconic Blood one, which can give you lightning resistance and give you extra damage on lightning spells? And why would you play a Storm Sorcerer over a Shadow Sorcerer, which can do extra sorcery things? That's a hot take, probably, but I'm gonna put him in good, but why? Next up, oh wait, that's all the sorcerers. We gotta rank sorcerer. Hey, look at that. They're gonna go in S tier. There is a good reason to play a sorcerer, and that is sorcery points. They also multi-class really well. They can still multi-class really well with paladins. They're just gonna get less smites. They can multi-class really well with bards and do a bunch of stuff. They're just good. Very good. Very, very good. A lot of times, why would you play a wizard when you could play a sorcerer? Well, we're gonna get there. Next up, we have warlocks, and I believe this is the Arch-Fey Warlock. Normally, I think Fey Warlocks would go in like the C tier, maybe the B tier. And we're gonna confirm that. We're actually gonna put them in the B tier. I did buff Arch-Fey Warlocks, but they're still Arch-Fey Warlocks. The buff that I gave them is that their Arch-Fey Presence, or their Fey Presence spell, now instead of having 2 variations of it, one that can charm and one that can frighten, I combined them. You have one spell that can charm and it can frighten, or it can do both. So enemies have to make a saving throw against charmed, and they have to make a saving throw against frightened. So you might get both effects, or you might get none effects, or you might get one or the other. And that makes it a really good short rest crowd control spell that's kind of high risk, high reward, because you have to like kind of be in melee distance for it to work. So that's kind of rough. Their spell list isn't super crazy, but they are still a warlock, and warlocks get to do warlock things like Eldritch Blast the brains out of everything. Or they can be a blade lock or whatever, and Archfey is like kind of decent as a blade lock. They're a little more defensive, but they're good and they're worth playing. And I think they're very RP friendly. If you want to play one specifically, you RP it as, hey, we hit Act 2 and we saved a certain fairy. What if I made a deal with that fairy? Archfey Warlock, bang. Fiend Warlock. Fiend Warlock is gonna go in A tier. And Fiend Warlock goes in A tier because it does most of what Archfey does, but it also gets cool things like temporary HP on kills, and it gets the Dark One's own luck, the like 1d10 bonus to stuff. like conversation checks or skill checks or whatever. Like that's really good. And they get Hellish Rebuke, and I know Hellish Rebuke is like not a good spell. I know it's not, but I love it. It's so good. It's so much fun. I enjoy it. It's like a reaction smite to me, and that just warms my soul. So I like Fiend Warlock. I think they're A tier. They're a very good Warlock to play. Yeah, you can just play one and you won't feel bad. Hooray, Will. Next up, we got the Gulak, the Great Old One. They are also an A tier Warlock. They get to frighten things when you critically hit, which like is really good, but you have to build for it to make it really good. But their spell list is also very solid. They're good. They're kind of the focal point Warlock, I would say. These two are the focal point. Archfey could like maybe be A tier under certain conditions. But really, if we're honest, just play a Bladelock. Bladelock does all of the things that the other Warlocks can do, but better. Like way better. Like just, I don't know, play a Bladelock. Hexblade, that's what it's called, Hexblade Warlock. These are good. This is amazing. Amazing. So where's Warlock gonna go? You guessed it. The S tier. Warlock does so many good things. It's a great melee combatant. It's a great spellcaster. It's the best counterspeller in the game. It just kind of brings a lot to the table. It's a really great party face. And like Eldritch Blast, man. I don't know. It deals a lot of damage. Warlock, S tier. Okay, finally, the last class. This is Wizard. We are going to start with, I believe, this is Illusion Wizard. Illusion Wizard in the vanilla game is like a C tier garbage. Now it's A tier. I buffed it. So it's the level 10 feature from the vanilla game, Illusory Self, which lets you, on a once per short rest, take an enemy's hit that would have been a hit and turn it into a miss. I made that its level 2 feature. It's basically just a shield spell. Like it's not that crazy and it only does it for one hit. Like it's not a great level 10 feature. So I made it the level 2 feature. The level 6 feature, it now gets full sight through magical darkness through its third eye dark vision spell. And I gave it third eye see invisibility. So you can use it to see invisibility, which makes sense. Both of those things are kind of illusions. I know they're like a conjuration, whatever. They're illusion-ish. They can see through it. They're great. That's awesome. And then level 10, their new feature is Greater Illusory Self, which does the whole turn the hit into a miss, and it automatically casts Mirror Image on you, which will last for 10 turns. So you get to turn the next one into a miss, and then you also add 10 armor class, 9 armor class, I think it is, for the next 10 turns, or until you take, 3 attacks. So very good, very, very good. Solid, and then it does wizard things on top of that with like the massive spell list and whatever spell that you need to solve the problem, the wizard can take, can learn, and can use. Awesome. Necromancy Wizard. Pretty sure I put that in C tier. Yep, that goes in C tier. It's a great wizard. It does wizard things, and there is a reason to play it that's gonna keep it out of here, right? And that's necromancy builds. But it's still not that powerful. I didn't buff it because like the spells themselves are all very strong because it's a wizard and it gets so many spells. But it's just not that crazy. Yeah, if you like summoning builds, like sure, play it. It's niche and it'll work, but it's gonna go here. It's gonna go there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Transmutation Wizard. And Transmutation Wizard in the vanilla game is kind of like a B tier, C tier. It's got a really neat level 2 effect, letting you double your speed potions that you make. No one cares if you make extras of the other stuff, but doubling your speed potions is wild. Very good. But I think I'm moving it up to A tier because it gets that, but I also gave it medicine expertise if you have proficiency already. So if you have a source of medicine proficiency, the Transmutation Wizard is now going to double your potions even more often, which is excellent. But I also gave it another feature. At level 6, it gets its own unique cantrip called Transmuter's Stone Throw. And Transmuter's Stone Throw is kind of a short to medium range cantrip that throws a rock like a bullet. It deals 1d12 plus your intelligence modifier, but it still scales like a cantrip. So when you unlock it at level 6, it's going to be 2d12, and at level 10, it's going to go to 3d12 plus your intelligence modifier. It deals a lot of damage. It deals it in bludgeoning. It's awesome. It's a really good default action. It's kind of fun, just a little bit of flavor, but I think those two changes are going to bring Transmutation Wizard up to A tier. It does all the wizard things, plus has a really strong default action, and offers really good support to the party in the form of lots of potions. So, very fun. Next up, we've got Abjuration Wizard. Do I even need to explain that? You can basically become invincible, especially in this, because I added a few more ways that you can reduce your damage taken, like through false life and stuff. Like Abjuration Wizard, I need to nerf this. I should nerf this, but I don't really know how to do so in a way that still makes it fun. Yeah, I don't know. Abjuration Wizard's cracked. You just become invincible. I didn't change anything, and it does all the wizard stuff. It's S tier. It might even be S plus tier. It's so absurdly good. What is this one? Yeah, Conjuration. That's funny. It's funny that this is Conjuration, because like I feel like you don't conjure any beings using Conjuration. Maybe you do. I don't know. Conjuration Wizard, I don't think I changed anything. I don't remember changing anything. I think it's just good. Oh, I did change something. No, this is definitely A tier. I think in the vanilla game it's kind of B tier. It gives you like a once per short rest create water. I don't even know what its other features are. Oh, you get like to teleport, and then if you're concentrating on a conjuration spell, like you can't break your concentration. Those are like kind of neat, and they're fun, whatever. But the level 2 feature is what really needed a buff. Create Water is a really good spell because you can like create water and double lightning damage against enemies. But it's an action, so like you set it up and then someone else takes care of using it, or you set it up and then the enemy's dead before you get to use it, or you set it up and then you're dead before you get to use it, or you set it up and you just have to wait. Like a setup turn sucks. So I made its Create Water spell a bonus action. That's it. So Conjuration Wizard is now like kind of an excellent lightning damage dealer. Summon the water as a bonus action, and then chain lightning them, or whatever. Cool. The only problem with this as a bonus action is actually that Shocking Grasp is no longer an action cantrip. It is a bonus action cantrip. So you need to like Witch Bolt or do another lightning spell as your action. Or you can use like Ray of Frost or something like that, a nice spell. Yeah, but Conjuration Wizard, A tier, very solid. It's still a wizard. Divination, S. Like S. You can guarantee an enemy fails a saving throw. Like a key enemy, like maybe a Raphael, fails a saving throw, S tier. S freaking tier. Enough said. Like you can also make it where you guarantee you save against something, which is also good, but like you can guarantee Raphael fails the saving throw against hold monster. S tier. What is the hearts? Oh, is it enchantment? Enchantment. A tier. I buffed its level 2 spell. What is the enchantment level 2 spell? I know what I did. Hypnotic Gaze. I buffed Hypnotic Gaze. Hypnotic Gaze now gets a spell save DC bonus. I think it's got a +2 bonus to it. So it's really strong. Really strong. And this is kind of like the Glamour Bard, which in a way is like, why would you play this when you could play a Glamour Bard? But also not really, because it's a wizard, and you do get significantly more spell access as a wizard than as a Glamour Bard. And you get that feature earlier, so it's not quite as strong as a Glamour Bard's Mantle of Majesty, but you get it at level 2. So there is a good reason to play this instead of a Glamour Bard, wherever I put that, right here. Yeah, Enchantment Wizard, very good. Solid A tier. Evocation. I didn't change anything, but like, I don't know. I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast Fireball. Enough said. Blade Singer. S tier. I don't even know if I need to describe why that is S tier either. Like, you get all of the awesome martial capabilities. You get to fly occasionally and like knock stuff over, I think. I don't know, you get to heal yourself. You get to be a wizard with all the blasting casting capabilities or defensive capabilities. And you just get to do it all. I don't know. Why would you play any of this other stuff when you can play Blade Singer, right? I mean, like, maybe Paladin is better. But in the vanilla game, you'd just play Paladin and Blade Singer at the same time. You'd take 2 levels of Paladin, the rest in Blade Singer, and then boom, everything in front of you dies. That's not so much the case anymore, but Blade Singer is still a very, very good. Also, the spells that I changed, which again, you can see in the patch notes below, is just gonna make this even better as well. All right, where do we place Wizard? You guessed it, S tier. One of my goals in making this mod was to make sure that every class felt like it was S tier. And there is, I think, a very good reason to take every single class on here in every single party. You have so many options, and I also feel like I buffed so many of these that we've really only ended up with a few classes that are like not that great. And some of that isn't because they're not competitive. It's just like the other thing is just so much better. I would have to fundamentally change the identity of the thing up here or in here to make one of these worth playing. And that's just not feasible. This is a tier list. There's always going to be stuff lower on the list. I may have been a little overly generous with S tier and A tier, but I genuinely think if you take any of these classes, especially these subclasses, you're going to have a great time. And if you take any of these, you're going to have a good time. They're still going to be fun, or they're going to offer some unique RP flavor that's really good. These ones as well, you're going to have a good time, but like, why take these when you can take these? All right, everyone, I am very tired after recording for an hour and 35 minutes. I'm going to go edit this. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. And if you enjoyed the mod, drop an even bigger like, drop a comment, go download it. We want to download this mod as much as possible so that Larian sees it and goes, oh my gosh, we need to get this on console right now. Okay, that's the goal. So if you enjoyed this, if you want to play it, go check it out at the link in the description or through the in-game mod manager. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next excuse.